A very good evening to you. I'm Lisa Lord, and in our news, a new committee coming to spearhead a reduction in the use of plastics in Barbados. The Agriculture Ministry trying to create a buzz about the bee industry. Well, fish not flying off the counter just yet for Easter, but vendors are still hopeful. And in sports, Barbados bows out of the CONCACAF Nations League.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC News Night, starting now.
In our top story, government is establishing a committee to oversee the use of plastic materials in Barbados. And the disclosure from Minister of Maritime Affairs and the Blue Economy, Kirk Humphrey, during the second reading of the Control of Disposable Plastics Bill in the lower house this morning.
And this committee will not be a political committee, because for this thing to work, you need to have people who are passionate about the environment. And sir, this will be made up of a lot of people from the NGO sector and so on. Of course, some government representation, persons in the public service, sir. But there has to be a committee, sir, that looks after a lot of these issues to address, monitor, and develop plastic pollution prevention programs, formulate and implement strategies and programs to educate the public on the pollution created by plastic, sir.
Well, the minister had announced during the budget debate last week that the April 1st deadline had been extended by 3 months to allow retailers and vendors to get rid of the products they have in hand. Now, the penalty for breaking the laws on single-use plastics is $50,000 or imprisonment of 1 year or both. Minister Humphrey notes that discussion is taking place on items that will be exempt from the ban, including garbage bags. He says that local manufacturers will be encouraged to produce them.
And we might have to define that, sir, as the amount of microns in a bag, the size of the bag, as they did in Jamaica, so that you have to have at least 50 microns in a bag, which makes it a thicker bag, or a certain size of bag, Mr. Speaker, sir. A plastic bag or disposable polystyrene container or item for pharmaceutical dispensing or any other medical use. So anything to do with medicine, anything to do with pharmaceuticals, sir, we're not touching, of course. A plastic bag or plastic wrap designed for the storage of agricultural products. The Honourable Minister of Agriculture will be pleased to see that. A plastic bag that is manufactured here, but for export.
Now, while opposition leader Bishop Joseph Atherley supports fines for people who break the law with regards to the upcoming plastics ban, he thinks the government should focus on the bigger fish and not the poor man.
But I think that those hefty fines should apply to importers, manufacturers. I think those hefty fines of $50,000 should not be applying to the fella down the road as selling. I see sellers are captured in here, and then my understanding is correct. I think you should have a differential between the fines you apply to a fellow who imports and manufacturers. I leave that $50,000. You have prison attached to it as an alternative, but certainly you should not be looking to imprison a fella from down the road for giving your brother his food in a styrofoam package. If he does, there must be some other way of penalizing that without criminalizing him.
Well, government is introducing new initiatives which it hopes will benefit a wider cross-section of society than has been the previous case with previous programs. In fact, that's the thinking behind a new project aimed at bringing greater awareness of the beekeeping industry and the potentially profitable opportunities it affords those involved. We get more in this report from Lorna Jones.
The Ministry of Agriculture is on a mission to raise public awareness on the apiculture or beekeeping industry. This is being done in partnership with the Barbados Apiculture Association. The second of 4 forums on the topic was held recently, this one at the Gall Hill Resource Centre in St. John. In addressing participants, Minister of Agriculture Indar Ware described beekeeping as a lucrative pursuit.
I am told that in a 3 to 6 months period, a developing beehive can produce up to 40 pounds of honey with a scale price of $20 per pound, and that is significant.
The Agriculture Minister adds that it's not just about the money. He says the initiative, which is part of the Farmers Empowerment and Enfranchisement Drive, or FEED, will help the country's youth become good business people and good citizens.
It can be no better opportunity at this point in time than for us at the Ministry of Agriculture to lead the way in the transitioning of Barbados and to respond to what is happening in this country in terms of crime and in terms of the demographic profile of those who are involved, and to see that agriculture plays its part in making sure that we join with the Ministry of Youth and Community Development to bring our young people out and give them reason to be good Barbadian citizens.
St. John MP Charles Griffith has endorsed the program. He says he's committed to ensuring the young people of the parish are provided with viable opportunities to get ahead.
I promise you that those guys who lie on the blocks in St. John, Lot 38, the Venture Guerrillas, the Edgecliff Vigilantes, Ground Zero, BMW and Sherburne, I know them all. And I am here this morning to say that they will be involved in the process of not only agriculture but beekeeping. We will find the avenues.
During the forum, Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture, or ICA, Representative Ina Harvey presented the 35-member Barbados Apiculture Association with a portable honey extractor. Lorna Jones, CBC News.
Thank you, Lorna. A local church leader has urged Barbadians to stay the course as the island faces challenges, including a recent increase in violent crimes. Reverend Dr. Adrian Smith issued the words of encouragement as he delivered the sermon at the Thanksgiving service for the Barbados Labour Party's 81st Annual Founders Day at the Calvary Moravian Church in Roebuck Street. To strengthen his point, Reverend Dr. Smith pointed to 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verses 1 to 13, which speak in part to God's faithfulness and that he will not let us be tested beyond our strength. Also, that he will provide a way out so that we can endure.
With what we are faced with as a nation, with crime and violence, it's hard. It's hard sometimes to watch and see young people in the prime of their life with their lives struck down, thrown away. It's hard sometimes to watch young people with capacity and energy and capability just lying on a block, standing on a street, doing nothing. It's hard to watch people turn to crime and violence, and so once again I must appeal to every young person, put down the guns, put down the knives. There is the sanctity of life. Can I yet appeal to somebody? Think twice before you stab or shoot somebody. Walking away is still an option.
And he adds that it is therefore important to remain faithful even in the face of adversity.
There are some people who don't see any reason to be happy. There's some people who don't even want to smile. I said to Calvary last week, you know, it's amazing that church people, we always have our face bent up, like if we had Lyme or something, face sour. And some of you walk in this church, you dress good, but you mess it up with that look on your face. Can I tell you, you can't be looking so good and then don't put a smile. Come on, man. You're looking dapper, you're looking beautiful. Give God a praise. Sometimes we don't even want to smile. You're vexed with the world. You're vexed with the Prime Minister. You're vexed with the government. You're even vexed with the church. You're vexed with me, but I can preach, though. I can tell you that. But sometimes we have no reason to smile. Therefore, it becomes important then to stay the course.
What's Trending is brought to you by Trident Insurance. We treat you like family.
And we say hello now to Ryan Broom, who is in our social media corner to tell us what is trending. Good evening, Ryan.
Good evening, Lisa. Good evening, viewers. Well, the return of capital punishment or hanging is a hot topic nowadays, and it comes as the island continues to grapple with an increase in violent crimes, including murders. Now, let's see what Facebook users are saying. Caleb Watson doesn't think hanging is going to make an impact on the murder rate. Now, he says crime is bad worldwide and Barbados is not immune. Now, Earla Ford, she doesn't agree. She thinks it could act as a deterrent to would-be criminals. Margaret Skeet suggests that while there is a stigma associated with the boys on the block, many of them are not criminals. However, she believes once someone is convicted of a murder, they should face the ultimate consequence instead of just remaining in prison for the rest of their lives. Now, some may argue that there's less respect for authority worldwide. We see an example of this in this video from California, following a police chase down a highway. Now, instead of just putting his hands in the air like the police demanded, this man decided to bust out some moves. He started to break dance, even as police surrounded him with weapons drawn. Following this snazzy routine, he surrendered and was taken into custody. What a thing. Now picture this. You set sail on a 12-day cruise, relaxing and enjoying the fresh ocean breeze are foremost on your mind, but it didn't quite go that way for passengers on a Viking sky cruise along Norway's coast. Now, the ship lost power in bad weather, and this was the result. Take a look.
You okay? Yeah. Get that on video.
And they did some scary stuff indeed. Well, 20 of the passengers were injured and almost 500 airlifted off, including the parents of former South African cricketer Graham Smith. Now, he revealed that they were safe and sound, and he thanked the cruise ship staff and the rescue workers for their assistance. Now over to the U.S., where securing the border with Mexico has been causing controversy for months. It led to a government shutdown as President Donald Trump tried to secure funding for his border wall. Well, now it looks like border security is suffering yet another setback.
My favorite story of the year, and possibly my favorite story in my entire life.
The concertina wire, or the razor wire used to reinforce the U.S.-Mexico border, is being stolen and sold by Tijuana residents for protection due to the city's high crime rate, according to officials. Some homes in the area were also seen with the same razor wire added for an extra layer of protection.
I guess that means Mexico is paying for, the U.S. is paying for Mexico's wall. And thanks to viewer Ryan from St. Thomas for that video. Now, over in the UK, many people have had a change of heart over Brexit. Negotiations have broken down numerous times, and many residents are confused over what Brexit will mean for them. Well, hundreds of thousands took to the streets of London recently to demand a new vote on Britain's exit from the European Union. And millions of people have signed an online petition to cancel it and remain in the EU. In fact, the petition is so popular, it's caused the UK Parliament's website to crash numerous times since it was posted. The creator of the petition, a 77-year-old lecturer, says she has received death threats and has been forced to delete her Facebook account. What a thing. Well, as of today, the petition has over 5.5 million signatures and still counting. Well, that's all the time we have for what's trending this evening. And of course, you can find us easily on Facebook, Instagram, and by email. Well, we'll see you tomorrow. Lisa, it's back to you.
Well, fish is usually a must-have for Barbadians during the season of Lent, but with just over 3 weeks to go until Good Friday, fisher folk have been experiencing some mixed fortunes. Our Rianne Phillips has more.
The countdown to Good Friday is on, but it appears customers will be coming out at the last minute to get their fish this year. From the Berinda Cots Market at Oistins to the Bridgetown Fisheries Complex, the story has been the same for fisher folk. There are more types of fish in the market than customers.
So far, things were a bit slow, but they're now starting to pick up. As they get close to Easter, it's going to pick up a bit more. The more popular fish that people are looking for are the flying fish and dolphin. Then like the barracuda and stuff are picking up a lot too. The price of the flying fish hasn't dropped as yet. The prices are still a bit high. Right now they're at $25 a pack. Then the dolphin, the price is still a bit high as well too.
Sales been very slow, very slow. Fish sales slow. At this time of the year, sales will be picking up, but I guess because that a lot of people gone home, a lot of people not working, and the money is still the same, they can't avoid it.
Some days slow, some days pick up. Usually the end of the month when people get money, it'll be a little busier. But you're getting a lot of kingfish at the moment, amberfish, you're getting a little turpits and Congolese. Dolphins, yes, but not as much as you would expect.
Sales are very. We are not getting a lot of flying fish, you know, those are very expensive. But we are having a little dolphin coming in. We have kingfish, we have barracuda, we have red snappers, turpis, and the most popular, the amberfish.
Business is expected to increase days before the Easter weekend. In the meantime, these fisher folk will continue their call to customers.
Amber fish. Sweet and nice amber fish here. Get the amber fish. $35 a pack, 40. Which way you choose to go?
Rianne Phillips, CBC News.
Member of Parliament for St. Philip North, Dr. Sonia Brown, is calling for urgent attention to be paid to environmental issues at the St. John Primary School. Dr. Brown, who is a family physician, says that she's seen firsthand the impact the problems are having on students and staff at that institution.
Almost 60%, 70% of my patients come from St. John. And I'm beginning to see increased incidences of asthma and mold-related problems. The St. John School is riddled with mold. And I hate to come in here and tell you that one of your constituents, she was a nice girl, but she died of asthma. I think that needs to be addressed really urgently. The children are getting sick, teachers are getting sick, other staff is getting sick.
Well, the increasing number of travel advisories issued for the Bahamas has become a concern for U.S. President Donald Trump, and this was revealed by Bahamian Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis, who was one of several CARICOM leaders to meet with President Trump at his Mar-a-Lago resort last week. We get more in this report from Eyewitness News.
Dr. Minnis, who spoke to media immediately after touching down at the Lyndon Pindling International Airport, explained that the concern of advisories were shared across the board for all Caribbean leaders who attended the meeting. Dr. Minnis argued that many of the advisories were detailed with either outdated or false information, which Minnis explained could disrupt tourism flow if not properly handled.
It appears as if the travel advisories are being recycled, and that some of the information that was on the travel advisory is not pertinent today because buildings or restaurants that they may have referred to no longer exist.